Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Cube 360. And here we are in Portland, Oregon, and right behind me we got the Oregon Museum of Science and Information. And boy, do we ever have a treat for you this time. What do we have today? Well, the Oregon Museum here is actually sponsoring something really cool this summer. So if you're in town, make sure you come and check it out, because it is Game On 2.0. Look at that. It's now on Expedition through September 18th. It's all about video games, so why don't we go inside and check it out and see what it's all about. So step inside the world of video games here at the Oregon Museum of Science. We have all different kinds of games here. For instance, look at this. We have Pong, one of the very first video games ever created. I know you may not be able to hear me that well. It's kind of loud in here, but I'll try to take a tour around with you here, and we'll see what we can find. So let's start off here. We got Pong. Pong doesn't work so well. Here you got the Jaguar from Atari. Also, it looks kind of shitty. You got your Nintendo 64, you got your Xbox, you got your arcade games. And of course, video game magazines. I mean, right here, the internet has caused a decline in readership with even the oldest magazines. Computer and video game and electronics no longer being published. However, well-written magazines and the advantages that print media still offer means it's likely that game magazines are still here to stay. So, it's funny because back in the day, like the 90s, this was where you would get your game tips from, these magazines. Like, now we have the internet, so people don't even need magazine subscriptions anymore. They can just go on the internet and find anything they want. So, I mean, magazines have kind of become a little obsolete, so it's kind of interesting to find that they still publish video game magazines with the internet out there and all that. But I remember growing up, and the only way you would ever know about a secret or a tip or something was from getting a subscription to these magazines, and not everyone was rich and could afford like $100 a year subscription to Nintendo Power. But that's back in the day, and with the internet now, I guess we have to thank. I don't know. Do we have to thank or not? We got some real old stuff going on here. This looks like it's the Sinclair Spectrum. One of the first cheap home computers that gave rise to bedroom coding in the UK. Obviously here we got your family computer, also known as the Famicom. In Japan, it's just the regular Nintendo. Here we have the MSX, everybody. This is actually Corad's favorite system, the MSX. And also, going with it is one of Corad's favorite games, Castlevania. It's actually interesting to know that with your MSX, just picking up this controller now, the first thing I notice is your buttons are backwards here. If you're used to your regular Nintendo configuration, this button jumps and this button attacks, whereas it's the other way around here. Well, that's game over now, but From what I'm used to, I always thought it was the A button that jumps. Let me test this out here. Yeah, see? It's the A button that jumps and the B button doesn't do anything. So this one is actually the one that actually jumps on this one. So with your MSX, the button configuration is actually backwards. That's a little strange. I don't know if you can actually fix that or not. I mean, obviously, no, you probably can't fix it with the options or anything like that, but, I mean, who actually plays these games now with the actual console, right? I mean, most likely people use, some sort of emulator now. We are playing some PC Engine now, and, as you can see, it's pretty hard to play in film. So we will leave it at that. Here's the Game Boy. So you don't know Jack. I don't know what this is, but it sure looks pretty cool. So moving right along here, further into the museum here, we get into a section which kind of has a lot of, I guess, modern day games. It's more so a lot of concept art and stuff. So you got a Tomb Raider statue here, and then a lot of Tomb Raider kind of promotional posters and art. And then you have also Super Mario and Sonic on the other side here. So you got your Super Mario with your concept art. So your original Donkey Kong concept art being shown here from the classic arcade game, and then there's also some original Super Mario Brothers concept art here too, so creating the blocked Mario here from the NES days. So I thought that was pretty neat as well. And continuing on, obviously you have your Sega Genesis, and you have your Sonic, so you have your other stuff like artwork of Sonic and whatnot. And then you have a bunch more generic arcade games and you know, multiplayer games here. This is kind of showcasing multiplayer games like Super Smash Brothers. Seems like this is the handheld section here. So let's take a look at some of the handheld games and children's games, actually. Children's games and handheld games here. So, let's see. So everything seems to be kind of coded here, number coded. It's got a number and then a name, and then you can kind of see the display down here. So we got your Game Boy, then your, let's see, number 50. It's Snoopy. It's just a game. It's actually a game. Believe it or not, it is a game. And then you got your Donkey Kong Hockey. Actually, I think Gypsters gave this away. Yeah, on one of his videos, he was giving like some kind of Christmas special, and I think this is actually the item that he was giving away. Yeah. Then you have your Mario Brothers here. And Mr. Game & Watch. You got your Game & Watch. Then you have your more well-known Nintendo portables, so your Nintendo DS's, Game Boy Advance, and the Game Boy Micro. It's actually like super tiny.
Yeah, unfortunately not allowed to film, so it's right.
Okay. Alright folks, well that was the gist of it there. I got cut off there. The guy told me not to film anymore, so I'll just leave you with a few more clips that I shot around when I wasn't really speaking. But this clip here is kind of it's old stuff. It's like the first generation cabinets, and it's more so like children's games and whatnot. But a lot of those are kind of old, so I thought they were kind of neat to show anyway. They weren't really up and running. It was just more so for the fact of looking at them. But the majority of the museum was, as you see, games that were hooked up here with TV systems and being able to play the games. So, you know, you had your Sega Genesis, you had your Nintendo, you had your Atari, and your Sega Saturn, your PlayStation, your Nintendo 64, whatever it may be. That was basically the gist of the museum here. It was a bunch of games just set up and being able to play. I'll give you a final verdict at the end. But right now I actually want to talk about an arcade I went to. I went to something called the Ground Control Arcade here. Here's some photos. And this is at 511 Couch Street in Portland, Oregon. It's downtown. And it's a bar/arcade put together. So, it had a lot of classic arcade games here. So here you had your X-Men 6-player cabinet, you had your original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, it had some others, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, you know, new and old, different, whole bunch of different kinds, Double Dragon, Smash TV, a bunch of old arcades. But it was a bar/arcade, and after the hours of 5 p.m. you needed 21 plus ID to get in. So I thought that was kind of neat. I haven't really seen one of those before. So to kind of give you my final verdict here of the museum itself, I wasn't too pleased. I really wasn't. It was $12 to get in just to play a bunch of video games. I could have stayed at home and played these games. There wasn't really a whole lot of information on the games or the game systems itself. Like, I was expecting like a little bit of information session, like maybe a lot more interactive, you know, learning more about the games and where they came from and how they were created, but it was more so just play a bunch of games. There was a couple cool exhibits, but other than that, not so much. So I hope you enjoyed. That's this episode of the Cube 360. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.